Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm so excited to finally share this DIY island makeover with you guys. The inspiration from this project came from Carrie Lynn and her Farmhouse Island kitchen video. I will link it down below for you guys so you can see how she did hers. Hers turned out amazing, and when I first saw her video, I was like, I want my island to look similar to that. So she was the inspiration for this video. We also have a pull-out trash that we put in. So I'm going to share with you how we did this makeover island today. I wanted a modern farmhouse look, and I really think that we pulled it off. So here's a quick look at before what the kitchen looked like. We had a peninsula. So we just took those base cabinets and moved it into the center of the kitchen for the island. We rearranged our kitchen, and our countertop is going to have an overhang, and so we wanted to frame out the sides of the island so that way you couldn't tell that they had an overhang, but we could still put bar stools and stuff underneath. So we are actually going to be framing out, adding to the sides of the island with these 2x4 boards that we're going to secure in. We're going to make sure they're all nice and level and square, and then go ahead and screw them on. In Carrie's island video, she used beadboard to cover her island sides and back, and I had gotten some along with some 4-inch pine boards, but I don't know, I just wasn't quite sure if I really wanted that, so we loaded it back into the van. I took it back to Home Depot, and they ended up having these sheets of nickel shiplap is what it's called. So basically it's shiplap without having to nail each board in together, and it's just an MDF board here, just like the beadboard, and you just cut it to size. And I just thought this would really give a good modern farmhouse look, so I was by myself and had to load it up in the cart, which, as you can see, it took me a little while. It was a little hard to do it, but I finally got it. All we had to do was just measure the sides and the back of the island and then measure it onto our shiplap sheets. I really like this. It was so easy to work with, way better than individual shiplap pieces that you would have to measure out, cut them each individually, and nail them on. So this was just really easy to work with. We ended up using just a little bit less than 2 full sheets. We have some extra for another project if we want to use that later on. But this was really great. It's just MDF board, and it's pre-primed and just super easy to work with, and it looks really good. Once we got all the shiplap pieces cut to size, we used an air brad nailer and nailed all these into the island to cover up all of the edges and the sides. So now it's time to trim out around this, and the original boards I had were 4-inch pine boards, 4 by 1 inch that we were going to do around, and we decided they were going to be too big. So you can hear Simeon out there cutting. He's cutting some trim. So we just ended up using some 1/2-inch by 3-inch MDF trim board, and that's what we're going to use to frame out the island. It's a lot smaller than what I had planned before, so this is going to look nicer. It won't be too big and overpowering. So the piece that he's attaching this trim board to is actually some real shiplap that we cut down to size because it was wide enough to cover this 2x4 here. So he's just attaching that and placing that on the end to cover up the 2x4, and then we're going to finish framing out the side. Now it's time to measure for the X in the island. So we're going to start out with one long piece. We're going to cut it to length corner to corner, and then we're going to just hold it right there in place and make a little mark so that way we know the correct angle and it'll fit in there perfectly. Now we're going to work on the other side of the X, and we're going to use the same procedure that we did, but it's going to be 2 smaller pieces. I'm not really worried about any gaps because I'm going to go through and fill it in so it looks all seamless. Then we continued using the same trim board to just frame out the back of the island. So it is all finished framing out with an X on either side. I think it turned out absolutely beautiful. I just love this modern farmhouse look. I need to fill in all the nail holes and the seams and caulk around it and then prime and paint. And then the other thing is we are putting in outlets. And so I don't know where I want the outlets because so when you walk in here, you immediately see the island and it's absolutely beautiful. I don't want to ruin it by putting an outlet in here, but we do have the cords in here that we have to do something with. So we have one on either side. I'm not sure what we're going to do. We're thinking about maybe putting it right here, but the cord would have to like come up and around if you plug something in up top. I don't know, but I don't want it to be on the face of the island. The other thing that I need to do is figure out how I'm going to finish these edges here because I could just see myself breaking my pinky toe on here. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. I think I might get an extra trim piece and just put it right here and then take an extra board and put it here so it's kind of like boxed in a little bit. We'll see, we still have to figure that out. But the day, and I'm super happy at how it turned out. So now I just have to go ahead and finish mudding that in and painting. Now I'm going to take some spackling and fill in all of the nail holes as well as all of the cracks where the trim pieces come together. That way it'll look seamless. I'll let this dry and then sand it down, go back and recoat as needed until it's all nice and smooth. Sanding is always so messy. It's my least favorite part of any renovation project. So I'm gonna get out my vacuum, clean it all up so that way I can go ahead and prime and paint. I did dust the entire island with a rag before I did the primer so that way it would not be dusty. We did decide to go ahead and do the outlet boxes in the back of the island, which I'm so glad we did because it turned out really good. Now, we are not licensed electricians, but my husband is very experienced and knows how to properly do outlets. So I'm not going to show you how that whole process is because you need to hire a licensed electrician if you don't know how to do that yourself. So for the front of the island, I decided to do a little corbel type of a decoration. And because of this little lip here, I needed a piece of wood that was about 3/4 of an inch wide just to fit in that little spot right there. So here I have a 2x10 board, I think it is. So I cut it a little bit larger than what I needed. And then we have a planer. So my husband just set this up and sent it through several times. It started out at 2 inches and then we finally got it down to be 3/4 of an inch thick. Then he cut that piece of wood in half. That way it would fit the height of underneath the countertop. That way I can make my template for the little corbels. I I had made a template on this white piece of wood from earlier, and so I just took my measurements on the top and the bottom, and then I took a Pyrex bowl lid because it's perfectly round, and I used that to make the arch. That way I wouldn't have to freehand it and it would turn out perfect. Simeon clamped the two pieces together so that way we only had to cut once and then they both match each other perfectly. So he just used his saw and very carefully and very slowly cut along the line. And then once we were done, we sanded it down really good to make it all nice and smooth. Look how amazing these turned out. It looks really good. It gives it a nice finished look. So we still have to put a board here because that's gonna be Crumb City back there. We cut some little boards to size to fit nicely in there. That way we can sweep and not have crumbs back there, and it just looks a little more finished. Now I'm gonna get some more spackling out and cover up all these seams. That way it looks nice and seamless in all one piece. Simeon caulked around all of the edges just to kind of make it look like all one piece. Again, seamless. It just looks so much nicer when you have all those gaps filled. I thought it was so cute. Miles and Faith just love sitting there with him, watching him work. Now it is finally time to get to painting. So I got my painting clothes on and I'm going to start by priming it. Now the boards here are pre-primed, so I'm only going to do one coat of primer just to cover that mud and caulking and everything. I'm using Sticks primer, so I'm going to take some paper and tape it around the island. That way I can protect the new floor. And then I'm going to roll with a foam roller brush. It's a cabinet roller brush and it does a really nice job on painting flat surfaces. I let my primer dry for at least 24 hours before I used my cabinet paint. So I'm using Benjamin Moore Advanced, which is specific cabinet paint. I painted the rest of the kitchen with this paint and I did a video on that, so I'll link it down below if you guys want to see more details. The sheen is satin and the color I'm using is Chantilly lace. So I did 2 coats of this. I waited at least 16 hours because it's a 16-hour recoat time, so it's probably more like 24 hours between the 2 coats, but I did do 2 coats of this paint. One thing that I learned about painting this island is you want to make sure that you remove your painter's tape and protective paper immediately as soon as you're done painting. So after I finished each side of the island, I went ahead and just removed it and then moved on to painting the next section. Any little paint splatters or spots that had seeped down underneath the tape, I just sprayed it with some rubbing alcohol and wiped it up immediately. This paint will cure very hard and you don't want it to dry before you clean it up. And so it just makes it so much easier if you clean it up and remove all your paper and tape right away. Now it is time for the fun part. So we are going to be installing this pull-out trash. The brand is Renovation. I will leave a link down below. You can order them online. I wanted the gray bins, so I got mine from Home Depot, but they also have them from Amazon as well. I got the double trash can. I think they're 27 quarts each, so I got the larger size. They have different sizes. They have different styles. You can get a single trash. You can get a double one. There's so many different options to choose from. So Simeon's not home right now, so I'm just taking it all out and getting it all set up. I was too scared to screw holes into the cabinet, so I just waited for him for that. Now there's a couple different options for this. You can actually attach a little handle to this pull-out unit. You open your cabinet door and then you just pull it out. And that's how you access your trash. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to actually be able to pull the cabinet door open. So I had to buy this mounting kit, which was $20. And the trash kit, I think, was about $80. So overall, this was about $100. So not too bad. And I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. It seemed pretty good quality. They do have more heavy duty ones if you're concerned about this being a little bit flimsy. But to me, it seems pretty good quality. They had these very sticky squares that you put on the mounting bracket, and then you can pick up your door and smush it on there right in place, make sure it's all nice and in there good. And then when you pull it out, it'll be attached, and that way you can go ahead and screw your door on, and that's how you get it perfectly lined up. Overall, this was a really easy install. I am so glad that we did this in the island. It turned out amazing, and it didn't cost that much. I put some little cabinet bumpers on the corners just to protect the cabinet. I did it on all the rest of the doors in the kitchen and I really liked it, so I made sure to do it here because this door is going to be opened a lot. So the last part of this island project is to put in pendant lights. So I am measuring the island to find the center, and we're gonna put up 2 pendant lights. We're trying to figure out what would be the best placement here. So these are actually the first pendant lights I had gotten a couple months ago, and I just did not like them. I got them from Amazon, and the globe just seemed way too big. It's supposed to be oil rubbed bronze, which it was just like a matte black with like a gold rim around it. It just did not look right. So I returned them and I ordered some different ones. One thing that I learned from Carrie Lynn in her home renovation videos is she says she likes to go to Lowe's and Home Depot, look at the lighting section, find what she likes, and then look for it on Amazon. So what I did is I found these from Home Depot, this similar style. I loved them, and then I looked on Amazon and I found these particular ones. I absolutely love them. They're way cheaper than what I found at Home Depot, and I like them so much better. They have this little glass globe in them, and they just really have that modern farmhouse style vibe that I'm going for. So now just trying to figure out the placement of these. Now we're just making those marks on the ceiling so we can go ahead and cut holes in the ceiling. When we were renovating our kitchen, we made sure to leave our pendant light electrical wires up there so that way we can go ahead and connect them, because of course we weren't sure where the island was going to be. So we got these little, I don't know what they are, they're special boxes that have a saw on them, and you hook them on your drill, and that way you can just drill right into the ceiling. The first one did not work out so well, so we had to use a Sawzall to finish cutting that hole. The second one actually worked pretty good. So now we just reached in and grabbed those wires and got these all hooked up. I got these really cool looking bulbs to put in there. I didn't realize that I had gotten ones with sensors that turn on at night and off during the day, so I had to return them, but I did get the right ones eventually, and I just love how these look. Now I'm going to finish it off with adding my bar stools. I got these from Target several years ago. I love how they look in this island and how they fit nicely in this little cozy area. It looks amazing. I hope you guys enjoyed this island makeover video with this modern farmhouse theme. If you like this video, be sure to give a thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know how you liked our project. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time.